go. Wendy. How you doing?
I am doing okay. How about you, Don?
It is a pleasure to see your face. I know not on Zoom, but just in general. Excuse me.
It's a pleasure to be seen.
Yes,
Be real.
definitely,
It's a
definitely.
pleasure to be seen.
Well, I appreciate you joining SCTV. Interestingly, as you and I talked last week, and it's crazy because I'm observant. But
Yes.
then I was like, yeah, we represent, we in our model thing is inspire, educate, empower. He was like, that's what we do.
Right.
So our
We're
worlds are
aligned.
aligned. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I appreciate you jumping on and thank you so much. I think we have a lot to talk about.
We do.
There's a lot going on.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Well, here's what we'll do. So for the viewers that don't know who you are, please share your story, who you are, and what you do.
Okay, so I am Wendy Cherry. I am a native of New Jersey. I'm a Virginia State alum. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I am an adoptee who found 9 other brothers and sisters, full-blooded.
Yes.
And I'm an author, and I'm also a health coach. So I worked in entertainment industry for 25 years.
Mhm.
I went in, my first job was at the Apollo Theater. And then I worked for MTV as a roadie traveling the United States. And then I worked in a large music organization.
Mhm.
And I realized that I was giving away my time, treasure, and my talent and my intellectual awesomeness at a very cheap price.
Right.
And I realized that I needed to transition from corporate and to do my own thing. So in the midst of that, being in corporate, I was injuring myself by being stressed out, by allowing people to underpay me and to there was microaggressions, just all the things that many of us, many African Americans specifically, have faced in corporate America. Well, what I didn't know is how it affected the body.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't know is how it affected my health. And
Right.
it had happened, from second grade that I remember in freaking Girl Scouts,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But it was just all of the buildup. So I decided I needed to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I could heal myself, which I had never heard of before.
Right.
So then I started to take the steps to do more healing of myself, because if you remember, our grandparents and great-great-grandparents weren't allowed to go to the hospital anyway.
Right.
They healed themselves, or there was a medicine woman or a medicine man in the towns, whether you were in the Caribbean or whether you in the US.
Right.
Your family, depending on the generation, was not even born in a hospital. They had a midwife. So I started to tap back into that, and that might have been about 8 years ago. And then over the years, I was like, I have to tell more people, because, just like myself, I feel like I was conditioned and brainwashed a certain way, and it was time for me to evolve past it.
Right.
And learn some new things that could serve me. It was a new time for me. I was in my 40s, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I got to do some new stuff.
Right.
So that's what I did. And I went to to nutrition school.
Right.
So I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I became a certified integrative, which is mind, body, spirit. You know it as holistic health coach, because I wanted to help Black people, because look where we are now.
Exactly.
And so when you have a certain sense of yourself and a certain sense of self-reliance, then you can do anything. And I think that based on my timeline, my Facebook timeline, my Instagram timeline on this day, I'm not dating it. I don't know if you're going to date this, but based on what I'm seeing, there's a lot of pain and a lot of fear. And a lot of times people think they are stuck where they are because they think they won't get a check somewhere else.
Right. Right.
And entrepreneurship can scare them. But I had those same fears, but I moved past them. And so now I am on my 3rd year of entrepreneurship. That's me.
The funny thing is, like, I follow you online. Like, we know each other.
Yes.
The thorough example of this timeline of your life was said so eloquently and so much information. One quick point, People thought you were 30, so thanks for clarifying that. But no, thank you so much for explaining that. And we are in interesting times.
Yes,
And I think there wasn't a mistake in the universe of why you made your shift where you made your shift currently.
absolutely not. I believe it.
Definitely not. And
Mhm.
I can see it, like I can see it in, the information that you talk about. I can see it in, I can see it when we talk, but I
Yes.
can see it in the way that you're living. So talk about, is there like a target audience, or like who do you target, and what are those services that you apply to people?
Well, my main target is Black women,
Yes.
women of African descent,
Mm-hmm.
melanated women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the brown and the Black women from African descent.
Right.
So that's my target because we have the worst health outcomes around the world,
Right.
not just in the US. Is because we are the ones who, internalize the stress. We were conditioned to think that we were superwoman,
Mm-hmm.
and we were also conditioned to think that Black don't crack,
Right.
but Black does crack.
That's right.
And physiologically and biometrically, if you were to look at us under the skin and look at our organs and our cells, we are 8% older than we appear on the outside.
Oh, wow.
And the outside really doesn't matter. It's really what's on the inside. That sounds cliche, but it's true,
I get that.
especially in this case.
Mm-hmm.
So my job is to, like we were talking about, inspire, empower, and educate
Yep.
melanated women to unapologetically transform into their most authentic and healthy self by tapping into the goddess within. So let me unpack that. So to
No problem.
unapologetically transform.
Unapologetically.
Unapologetically. So we have been conditioned here in the US
Right.
to run them babies to soccer, take
Right.
them to ballet,
Mm-hmm.
go to football, and then run home and then eat standing up or eat in the car and then go to sleep at 1 o'clock because we didn't even get a chance to like woosah and watch our show.
Right.
So this is to tap into your wellness without apologizing to anybody.
Right.
And then that is to transform into your authentic, because really when you're healthy, you are one with the divine. The divine, the creator, whoever you say that creator is, did not bring you here for you to be stressed out.
Right. Right.
And so, and then your most authentic and healthy self by tapping into the goddess within. So we're all born gods and goddesses. You know that.
Right.
So we're born gods and goddesses, and we were told that our power belongs to somebody else, but we are the gods and the goddesses. Our body is technology.
Right. Yeah.
We always talk about computer, Google, all these things, all these platforms, but we are the original platform. We are the original technology. We are the original Google, I'll go so far as to say, because when you want to research something, where do you go? You go to Google, but you have your own eyes.
That's right.
When you see something, you can look around and scan if you have good eyesight. Thank God for good eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see what's going on. If you hear something, what do? You go, you're trying to listen.
That's right.
The taste, the smell, something's burning. You're like, oh snap, I left the pot on. Let me go. It's technology.
Right.
We're even, Don, even when we were in college, we didn't have all this technology per se.
We did not.
Even in college, when I was a freshman, we didn't even have DOS. We had Word Perfect or something, and you had to create the DOS. You had to So we are the original upgrade of everything.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want us to remember, that we are the gods and goddesses, and then we can unapologetically really stand in that so that we can be well and be joyful and enjoy pleasure and enjoy our lives, because that's why the Creator brought us here.
You unpack so much information, because I've been hearing this over and over and over again within the past 3 months, especially with women. Being unapologetic. Because of the ways that we need to be as women. And I recently spoke to an agency that's a doula agency. So everyone's home and there's Zoom and kids come running in, and then the mom feels like she needs to apologize. No, you don't.
My sister has been a doula for 20 years.
Right. Yeah.
And my niece, her daughter
Yeah.
is now doing the legacy. So she is a
Right.
doula as well. So I'm familiar.
And no reason to apologize. And then you said something else that was just so profound. The condition, basically reprogramming what
Yeah.
we've been conditioned to think how we need to be.
Right.
And that's so important.
Right. Well, I teach a wellness class.
Right, right.
And we are on week 5 now of the wellness class. But what I've been teaching them is getting back to their wild self.
Yeah, yeah.
So just as we're talking, visualize, all you watchers and viewers here, visualize the face only of a wolf. And he's snarling at you and his teeth are out and he is salivating.
Yeah.
Picture that. And then picture a little puppy dog dressed up with a bow in his hair being pushed in a cart through the park.
Right.
Who do you think is going to be able to survive?
Self-explanatory.
Who has the instinct and the intuition and the intellect to be able to make it through? So now look in the mirror and see how far away from that wolf you are and how close to that well-manicured little puppy you are. Exactly. And we are in a time of survival. How well have you been able to do it? Mind, body, spirit, from your spiritual side, from your emotional side, from your physical side. It's kind of tough because we ain't had to do it like this in a minute.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, you said so many interesting things. 2-part question. How are you now? Because you're usually in a setting or you're doing more one-on-one. 2 parts. How are you now communicating and still being able to get that message to sisters that are out there? And then how has business taken a shift?
Okay, well, so business took a crazy shift.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to call it a pause because I believe that what I'm supposed to get, I'm going to get.
Right.
But this pandemic started in the middle of my book tour. So I have a book and I was on tour. I had just finished LA. I had just finished Atlanta. And the week before I was in Richmond, right? I was scheduled to go to the Northeast at this point, New York, New Jersey. But even more dope for me was that I was going to be featured at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Wow. Now, what kind of opportunity, how often does an opportunity like getting featured at the Kennedy Center help, you know, happen? And I felt it coming. Like I saw it coming where they were starting to shut stuff down. I was looking at my dates. I canceled 13 dates. I'm going to change my language. 13 dates were postponed. Right. Right. And so in the beginning, I was stressed out because I also had 150 books in my trunk of the car. You know what I'm saying? That I had just put on my credit card to pay for so I could have inventory. Y'all know how that goes, entrepreneurs, when you buy the inventory on the front end because you know you about to blow up, right? Exactly. Yeah. And so there I was with the 150 books and now I'm in the house. Right. So the great thing for me is that I have worked from home for 9 years. Even when I worked in the entertainment industry, I was a virtual employee. So I knew the hustle and how to navigate that fine. It was fine. It was like regular life. And so I just switched everything online. I had already been online, had already done wellness workshops online. So then I just expanded it. But the first thing that I did was I created the Virtual Awakening and Healing Summit. It was a 7-day summit with a psychologist, a pastor, an integrative doctor, a traditional doctor, my mentor, my friend Erica, who does emotional emancipation, and my sister, my very own sister, who does Reiki, who's the doula, who does Reiki and yoga. And for 7 days, it was free. Anybody who wanted to come on to try to help, and it started April 10th, who wanted to come on to like manage this traumatic experience that we were having together. Yeah. And this was right at the time when I realized that African Americans were being impacted by COVID more than anybody else at the time.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's not a new concept for me, because that's why I went into health, because we have the worst health outcomes.
Right.
So it was just showing up in this new iteration. It's the same stuff, it's just a new iteration.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did first. Like, I felt like I wanted to help. And then now I'm doing the wellness workshops, and, you know, I still see private clients. I prefer groups.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you have a group of people who are learning very esoteric information, it's good for them to be together so that they can kind of sift and sort through it as a group. Because it's a lot.
Yeah, it is definitely. Is there a plan to do a second summit? Because of we're going into, it's like we're moving from a chapter to another chapter.
Yes.
And we're praying for more healing and changes to happen. So is there a chance that you'll do a second summit?
So there is. And so I have a radio show, the Sanctuary Radio Show, and it was taped out of the DC radio at the Office of Cable Television in Washington, DC. Everything is on hold right now.
Right.
But, you know, we can do these things using technology. So I have created the Sanctuary Radio Show Summer School. And it's going to be the same thing. I'm just going to have guests on. I'm going to have a holistic doctor again, because we're always needing to talk about the immunity.
Right.
And how to keep your immunity solid so that you don't get sick, especially during this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my sister doing more, because, you know, the medicine comes in different forms and different people react and respond to the medicine. The medicine is the information.
That's true.
What one person likes, another person won't like. So she's going to do yoga. I have another one just talking about the African spiritual systems that we can put into place to support ourselves, stuff that we have forgotten or even never knew, but it's in our DNA, so we can bring it back up to help us. So it's 8 sessions. It starts June 24th. We're going to talk about how to make money. Because so the goal is to set us up for the second wave.
Right.
The second wave is coming.
Right.
In any pandemic, if you have even Googled very cursory what happens in pandemics, there's always a second wave. So our summer is going to be tricky, but the true flu virus season is October, November here in the US. And so it'll be COVID, but then it'll also be that traditional flu season. So they'll be combined with whatever else is unleashed.
Yeah.
And so we'll be surviving again. So think of it this way. This is the spring. This is when you plant.
That's right.
This is when you put things into the ground.
Fertilize the body. That's right.
In the fall is the harvest.
Yeah.
So learning how to maybe grow some of your own food. We're just talking basic stuff, root vegetables. I'm starting this week. I have somebody who's helping me. And if you don't know how to do these things, YouTube is great. Yeah. But then also you can Google people, and people do this stuff all the time. And then Instagram, you know, like the social media can help you find somebody. If you just need a little plot of land. I live in a high rise on the 15th floor. Right. But I have a balcony. So I'm going to be doing this on my balcony.
That's right. That's what's up.
So that's what's happening. The Sanctuary Radio Show, Summer School. It's free. You just come on and you watch, and you be inspired, empowered, and educated.
Thank you so much for providing that in detail. My second question is another 2-part one, and I wanted to go into that question as far as, like, you know, where we are currently, the state of the world. Yeah. I didn't want to dive into that perspective, because I think the news has given us enough of, like, where we are. Yeah. I think what's most important is, as you're providing the information of what you do and who you are, I think what's important is not so much how people can cope. Yeah. What can people do to prepare to deal with, and like you said, the second wave? Like, what are the important things that people can do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think one thing is to just understand who you are. Yeah. This is in the middle of a pandemic and a almost race war. And this is during what we would call the mythological peacetime. Yeah. Is to know who you are. Yeah. To look in the mirror. The self-work, the internal is always the best, because when you're strong from the inside, then you show up differently. So what I'm always telling people is to, again, get back to that wolf. Yeah. like connect with your intellect,
Mm-hmm.
your instinct, and your intuition. But the thing is that you trust it this time.
Yeah.
Because again, you are the original Google, so you know what you need.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where we have been conditioned to go to the doctor, and the doctor says, take this pill. You don't even know what's in it. You know it makes you feel bad, but you still take it because they said. We here in the US are very, well, all over, but we're really conditioned to believe other people.
I hate that term so much.
Yeah.
They said, who's they?
Yeah, I always say when my daughter says that, I'm like, who's they?
Please.
I said that because, and then I say, what do you think?
Yeah, and if you're talking about they, we don't want to get into that deep talk about they, because
right,
they're directing us in the wrong direction anyway.
Right. That's the next.
Yeah.
So then the other thing is to, when you know who you are, you can kind of manage your habits.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, so I just made this up on Facebook at the very beginning before the actual shutdown. I called it the Corona Conversations. And I was just doing little vignettes on Facebook,
right.
Talking about ways to cope, because I knew that a lot of people were about to have to work virtually who have never done it before, but I knew I had done it for 9 years, and I had little tips and tools for them. So one of them was called How to Not Strangle Your Bae or your boo.
That's real though.
Yes. And I did that in March, you know what I'm saying? And so it was just tips on how to like make your space be what it needs to be, get your work done. Don't be a super person because you're at home now. You're expected to stay longer, like all those tips.
Yeah.
So, but I also had one that was talking about, why am I craving sugar? And I explained that when you're born, if you were nursed, or even if you were given a bottle, you were nourished by eating. Like eating fulfills a biological need. Right. So many of us who were lucky enough to have a mom who held us and who comforted us when we were eating, like if we cried and they came with the bottle or the nip, right? But there was a little bit of sugar in it. Natural sugar from the breast milk, and then whatever was in the formula, right? And so, but it still made us feel better. It hit the pleasure center. It released oxytocin. That's a hormone that is a feel-good hormone. They call it the happy hormone. And so from a infant, our bodies are trained to connect pleasure and safety and feeling good with sugar.
Yeah.
So now sugar comes in all types of forms. And so does pleasure. Pleasure comes in all types of forms. So when you know your body, then when you start to crave something, then you can decide how you want to move forward and what tool you want to use to, make yourself feel better. So I have a few examples.
Please, so, I was gonna ask you that anyway.
Yeah, most people are like, I need some chips. I've been in here gaining these Corona 15. Yeah. Like they're doing all types of stuff, right?
Cookies. Yeah,
right. But that's sugar that's not going to serve you past post-Corona, because then you're gaining all this weight, right?
Yeah.
Because all your body wants is pleasure. It wants to feel safe. Yeah. We are all bugging out right now. Like, what is really going on in this world? And so what do we need? Comfort. Yeah. Right. So comfort comes in mac and cheese. You ever heard the term comfort foods?
Yeah.
So mac and cheese, anything that's a carb, a grain, breads and pastas, is people think, well, I don't eat sugar because I don't eat Snicker bars. No, there's sugar in dang near everything, and anything that isn't processed in a package. Anytime you buy anything in a package, one of the first 5 ingredients is a sugar. But what does that do? It hits the pleasure center and it gives you a boost. So we've heard the term sugar rush. Yep. Right? But other ways to feel that same rush of oxytocin and pleasure is you can move your body and go for a walk. Or exercise, whatever that is that you do that makes you feel good. And it's the same, it's not the same for everybody. Another thing is a non-sexual touch. You ever just sit on the couch and hold your boo's hand while y'all watching TV? Or when the baby comes in and they just want to lay on you. Like Sydney came, my daughter's 17, she came in and got a hug today. She was just laying there on me.
So why non-sexual touch? Explain that, because I know people are going to be looking sideways.
Okay, because a lot of times, now a sexual touch is good when it's a safe sexual touch. Mm-hmm. But you know, sometimes you don't feel like being touched, and maybe more women could feel that than men. But sometimes when they start touching, you be like, that ain't what you want. Can't you just hold me?
Yeah.
Like, can't you just hold me?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We're in a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where a non-sexual touch mm-hmm. is a safe touch.
That's it.
You know, you asked the question, and some of your viewers are blessed enough to not even know the differentiation. Mm-hmm. But for those who know the differentiation, it's because they've been touched inappropriately. Oh. So like even yesterday, I went walking in the woods with my daughter, and she grabbed my hand. We were just holding hands in the park. Now she's 17. She don't do it often, you know, but when she does, I'm like, you know, I'm with it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So a non-sexual touch. So you can like rub your mate's back, or she can rub yours. You can hold hands. You can just hug. And you know, at Virginia State, we don't do them side hugs. We do those.
We do full hug. Yeah.
Right. Out. You know, my chapter was taught, don't give me no side hug and do not pat me. We were like, give me a hug. Yeah. And so think of E.T. Mm-hmm. The heart of E.T. Yeah. We are the original Google. We are the original technology. Mm-hmm. The heart is a energy center. Mm-hmm. When you put a heart in a heart on a person and you stand there for like 15 seconds, it's not even long. Yes. There's energy exchange. Right. You know, when people are like, I need a hug. Why? Yeah. They need the energy exchange. Why? Because they need comfort. Why? Because they can get pleasure and feel better. So those are some of the things that you can do, you know, outside of grabbing the cakes and the cookies and the chips, because those are not going to serve you. Move your body. So what I was doing originally was I was on day 2 of that D Nice situation where he had his IG live. Yeah. I was in there on day 2, and I noticed it instantly. I was on my balcony dancing, hearing the joints. Like he was playing the joints that I grew up with in Jersey, listening to BLS and Kiss FM.
Yeah, we met at the virtual bar there. Yeah. Huh? We met at the virtual bar on D Nice.
Yeah, we sure did. Thanks for the drink. Yeah. You know, and so it was making me feel good. It was meeting the need that I had at that moment, which was I needed to feel safety. Right. Mm-hmm. Those songs that he was playing took me back to my mom's living room in Jersey with the radio on. Yeah. And it made me feel good. So I actually Cash Apped that brother like day 2. Yeah. Because I recognized it as an exchange. Yeah. I only gave him $10. I ain't gonna lie, because I don't have no job right now, remember? But I understood that it was a currency, that he was giving me a currency of good vibes. Mm-hmm. And I know that in the US or in other places, we use currency as the fiat paper. Mm-hmm. So I Cash Apped him, and I was like, thank you, because I felt good. And so I have been in there periodically. Yeah. I have slowed down a little bit, and I'll tell you why. But I'll tell you why in a second. So don't let me forget that point, because it's important for health. But, you know, I think that it has made a lot of people feel better. Yes. Yeah. Because some people are on the verge of teetering on their mental illness that they have suppressed or not taken into consideration, or have been fighting to keep just right here. They're about to be on the deep end. Yeah, you're right. And so music has vibration, and it is healing. And all those people together in that little IG chat was healing. And then more and more people together, it just brought a whole big old thing and lifted the vibration.
You're so right about that.
So now, this is what I talked about, knowing yourself. So when you know yourself, think of the wolf. That's the original, more natural self, is the wolf, right? Yeah. So now I was in that joint all night long. Yeah. For like weeks.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I started to notice how tired I was and how unfocused the next day I was. Right. And then I started to, I was exhibiting some symptoms that were not good.
Yeah.
Because that's because of a lack of sleep. So I knew, and even though I had fear of missing out, you know how they say FOMO.
Yeah.
I had to be a grown up and pull myself out of there. And then that's when he also started taping them so that you could watch them the next day. So that's what I started doing because I wasn't sleeping. I was up all night, and then I'm looking at the phone, then I'm engaging because I always was a part of like the engagement and laughing and shouting people out and blah, 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 right?
Right.
The body, so knowing yourself during this time. First, I want to acknowledge we are in a pandemic, right? Yeah. The second part I want to acknowledge is that all you have to do is survive a pandemic.
That's true.
As an entrepreneur,
survive.
You're taught to hustle and grind. That's the hustle and grind mentality that a lot of entrepreneurs have.
Right.
Right. But my thing is hustle align. Because really, if you're aligned, you're going from point A to point C, you're bypassing B. When you're hustling and grinding, you're going to A, then you got to stop at B because you're hustling and grinding, and then you get to C because you're not aligned. Alignment takes you closer to where you need to be.
Pause real quick. Yeah. A lot of people you're gonna lose them at align because they have so many different terminologies.
Okay.
Pause for a second. So, just quick disclaimer of alignment for them.
Yeah. So alignment is when you are on the right path.
Yeah. And how do you know
exactly what you need to do and what you're supposed to be doing? Because your intuition, your instinct, and your intellect tells you. Like it feels good. It's like you can't sleep. You get the idea in the middle of the night. You get up, you write it down, or you voice it on your phone, and then you just get hyped about it. That's alignment.
Thank you for clarifying it. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
And so you can't do those things and really tap into the alignment and being focused and all those things when you're sleepy.
Yeah.
And you're tired and you haven't moved your body.
Yeah.
And you haven't been eating well. And you're stressed out because you keep watching the news. So that's what I've had to do. I have had to, and this is what I tell my clients is like, you are responsible for what you consume.
Yeah.
So now, even though D-Nice is awesome medicine, I could not consume that type of medicine at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Because it wasn't serving me.
Yeah.
Right. So I knew that I could watch it another time, but still get my rest. The thing is, and this is good for entrepreneurs to know, and you might not believe it, but it doesn't matter. It's one of those things where it is what it is, right? So the body, the human body, the body has evolved to only regenerating, restoring, repairing, rejuvenating, and doing all of its functions from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Give it to them one more time.
Period.
One more time.
The body only restores, regenerates, renews, repairs from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Wow.
Now, I know that my entrepreneurs say, but I'm a night owl and I get my best stuff done in the middle of the night. Well, you might now because we live in a modern society.
Yeah.
But depending on how old you are, if you think about your oldest relative that you can, who maybe is the oldest aunt who used to be young back, used to be in the room back in the day with her gray braids, like, and they would just feed her, like mama needs that, we're going to give mama her food because she's so old. She would go to bed. Well, she would be up mad early, and then she would go to bed by the time it started to get dark. That's natural. I'm not going to say normal. That is natural human behavior based on the sun. When the sun is up, you do your work. When the sun is down, you go to bed.
Wow.
That's ancient, right? So just because we're in 2020 and you got to get this video out because that's what you promised, You know, you are not serving yourself well if you're staying up all night for 5 days on this deadline, because your body does not heal. It heals from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So you're on a skating rink, you guys are skating, the place is packed, whatever. Then they kick everybody off and they send that big old truck for 10 minutes, and he comes and scrapes all that shaved ice off. You ever see that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That's what your body does at night. Your lymph nodes flush out. Your liver and your heart and your eyes and all these things have a process that they don't need you to send a to-do list for or an email. Evolution has made it so, because you're the original Google, it does it on its own. So when you put your laptop down at night, or when that new upgrade comes, or when you got to upgrade your apps, that happens every single night to a human.
You don't even notice that. All these things happen the way they do. The body operates
without you. Without you sending, like, orchestrating it and putting it on the production schedule, right? So it happens naturally, but it won't do it if you don't support it. It won't do it, and it can't do it if you don't feed it the proper foods, if you don't give it good water, if you don't give it good sun, especially if you're of African descent, you need the sun. If you're in North America, we are not getting the sun that we're used to. Vitamin D is very important to healing. So it's all those things together that help. And, you know, for entrepreneurs, because we are, some of us, I am moving away from the mindset that I have to hustle. And like I said before, to get my money. When I'm in alignment, the contracts come, the connections come, and then also resources just are not in money. Resources are in building relationships and somebody opening the door and introducing you to a person, or inviting you to come and, you know, send a proposal for this or that. That's also currency. That's also a resource. Resources doesn't have to be money, because those things can then attract you the money so you can pay your mortgage and pay your car note, and buy groceries.
You said something to me, sorry to cut you off. This was about 2 years ago, and you spoke at one of my exposure tours.
Okay.
And I was in the beginning phases of my journey.
Okay.
And I was still in the mindset of hustling. But you stopped me and basically kind of interjected to help the sisters in the room and the brothers to understand that that type of lifestyle is not the type of lifestyle that your body needs.
It's not sustainable. It's not even that your body needs. I mean, you can do it. So now think about, Don, if you've been doing this for many, many years now, your body can't do it right now. The way that you used to be able to do it.
Exactly.
Unless you stress yourself all the way out. So it's not sustainable. What we want to do is do things that are sustainable so that we have the best outcome. And then, I mean, this is what I've been saying in the pandemic, but this is what I say for entrepreneurs. You do your part. Nobody's saying just chill. What I'm saying is, when you're in alignment, then you get the download. So you and I talked the other day. You were telling me how, like, if you're meditating, how you experience meditation. Everybody's different. I don't experience meditation the way you do. The way I experience it is when I'm just still. And to be honest, I don't do well with the, like, traditional with the pretzel legs and all that. I have to be walking in the woods or walking somewhere. I'm better as a moving meditator.
And in nature.
So it can be however you want. But that's when I get my downloads. I call them inspired actions. It's just a little hit that comes. So that summer school joint, that just came to me last Tuesday. I'm walking minding my business in the park, looking at the flowers and the trees and my daughter, and something said, the Sanctuary radio show. So then I said, the studio's closed. And then Spirit said, has you been needing the studio? You have Zoom.
Clarification.
Facebook, right? So then I was like, okay. So then I tell you, from the time I got home at 1 o'clock until 8 o'clock, I had already gotten a visual. I had already made the credential for it and had already booked all 8 of my presenters. It was done in a day. So that is what you do with inspired action. Because if I would have hustled and ground it out, it would have taken me a week. I would have been missing phone calls. People wouldn't have been answering my emails.
Yeah.
It would have been more of a challenge to get it done. But you see what I did? I went, took the information and took the action on it.
Right.
And it was done by the end of the day. That was last Tuesday. I'm already done. I'm just waiting for June 24th now. And then I'll start,
I can listen. It would be like 6 o'clock and we would just keep talking. I could just sit here and just receive. Two things. First thing is thank you for that back then, because I received that information. But I was in a position to receive. That's a whole nother conversation, right?
Yeah, you have to be
Thank you. And I received that and I appreciate it. Are there any techniques or things that you typically would do that you could probably just share, not verbally and also that you can showcase? We could do a quick pause, but you and I talked about, is there anything that you'd like to kind of show that you?
Well, I mean, for me,
Yeah.
I do a technique, and I won't show you, I'll just share it with you.
Sure.
So this is my morning routine.
Yeah.
I get up in the morning and I just say, thank you, help me, and wow.
Yeah.
So the thank you is just to the creator. I'm here for another day. I'm grateful for that, because like I said, I deal with nutrition. I am, certified in integrative nutrition, but I have expanded it to anything that nourishes.
Right.
Okay. So vitamin G
Yeah.
is gratitude.
Oh.
So I'll tell people to take your vitamin C, take your vitamin D, whatever, right. But vitamin G is everything. And then I say, help me, because I don't know what's going on in this world. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So I talk to my ancestors. I talk to, and that sounds, so that might be that thing again. Yeah, that is my grandmother and my grandfather, my aunt and uncle, and a few other family members that have passed away, that I have put on a shelf with their pictures.
That you call your altar. That
I call my altar. And I go in the morning and I say, good morning, grandmommy, granddaddy. Please help me figure out what to do today. And word is bond. I've been at that altar a lot these last few weeks, because I don't have the answers, but they have the answers from the other side. So there's a term that says, a saying that says, our ancestors are the most underworked population, because we were taught that it's the devil if you ask them for help. But that's not true. All of our ancestors knew about ancestor veneration and connecting with the ancestors. So let's just think, if you have been to a Chinese restaurant anytime soon, the altar is right there. You ever see
your entire life
incense?
You saw an altar? I said, your entire life you saw an altar, but that was for me. I could never communicate it until now. I remember just being in a Chinese shop or a Greek shop or any shop, and I'm like,
everybody else has done it. We were the stolen people, so they try to remove things from us, but those people do it, and that's how they get their power.
Yes.
Go to the store, you see the gold cat with the hand like this. You see the red tassels. I don't know what none of that stuff means, because I don't, but I needed to know, again, looking in the mirror, knowing myself what my stuff means. So that's the help me. And then the wow was like, ooh, wow, I can hear.
Yeah.
You boot up the computer.
Yeah.
And then, like when you turn on, you put your password in, and I'm like, ooh, my ears work, my eyes work, I can taste, I'm about to go. So then the next thing I do is I turn around, and there's a thing called legs up the wall. It's a yoga pose, and it helps the blood and all the fluid come down the system, and it helps with digestion and other things, because what are you getting ready to do?
Right.
Stand up.
Yeah.
And be on your legs all day, or be on your butt all day, sitting in a chair. But I do the legs up the wall in the morning, and that's when I journal. And I just write out whatever I want to write out for the day. And then I come and I drink water.
Right.
With some lemon and some limes usually. Sometimes I pour some apple cider vinegar in there, and then I drink 24 ounces of water a day. I mean, in the morning. So now a tip, especially for entrepreneurs, if you're sitting down at your desk all the time, at least give yourself some water.
Yeah.
Take your body weight, half sit, and do that in ounces.
So look, like I said, this could be like an 8-hour master's class. Right? Because so much of the information that you provided, one, is necessary now.
Yeah.
And 2 is just helpful. But 3, it's not so, because I think people are caught up with, oh, I just need to be, I need to be helped. So I need you to help me cope. But like you said, you said so many key things about just planning and preparing. And we're only in June. So we have how many months ahead of us before flu season, technically, like they said, come in, but we don't even have to hit flu season like that. We don't have to hit it straight on. We could hit it straight on with proper planning.
This will mitigate some
Yeah.
of that, just mitigate some of the damage. That's the goal.
Exactly.
So like the thing is, like I said, we're in a pandemic.
Yeah.
You do not have to come up out of this joint sexy.
For
You
sure.
do not have to come out with your book written, your
Yeah.
song written, all your stuff edited.
Yeah.
You come out surviving. And
Yeah.
my goal is to thrive within it.
Yeah. I'm trying to be sexy because I work out 3 days a week.
Okay, well, you can do that too.
I'm keeping the mind, body, and soul.
But listen, on a day
Yeah.
that you decide that if your body is telling you not today, son,
Yeah.
don't work out today, then
Yeah.
you respect that. And
For sure.
don't just be because, okay, it's Thursday and that's what I'm supposed to do because that's what I've been doing. That's also respecting yourself and allowing yourself, because really we are in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So you might not get that three times a week. And if you do, good for you. But
you know what? Another thing that I think you touch based on, but people just recognizing the signs with a couple of different areas, recognizing the signs of, their ancestors that are tapping to them, also recognizing the signs of your body that's also speaking to you, because we're in a state where we don't have to be in a rush anymore. So for people to be able to recognize those moments, and when they do come in, how do they take advantage of those moments? And then the other, and this is another point, is sidebar to it. Even like for me, you talked about the non-sexual touch. I'm sorry, I'm throwing a whole bunch of things in one area, but like I found myself, where we have a home where we can move around in, but I found myself falling more in love with my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to find her in the crib just so I can give her a hug.
Yeah.
She sweat me anyway, but but I
Erica, you hear that?
But I do find myself doing those things. But just real quick, help people better understand, for them to notice those signs so they can take advantage of all these different moments that are going to happen periodically throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it is setting yourself up in the morning to have a plan.
Yeah.
So I start up, like I said, the thank you, help me, wow. That's what they call grounding. I kind of ground myself. I make sure that I am out walking and doing whatever. I make sure I'm getting a good breakfast. I make sure that I'm drinking some water. And then that allows me to be in tune to what's happening. So I don't promote any diet or anything like that, because everybody's different. They call it bio-individuality. So you will never hear me saying, be vegan, drink green juice, eat salads all day. You will never hear me saying that, because for me, I can't even eat raw salad. I can't eat raw vegetables because I don't digest them.
Yeah.
You never heard, like people don't know those kind of things. So, but what I do say is, like Dr. Sebi says, and I don't subscribe to that specifically either, but he did say eat foods that are alive, electric foods. So when you are eating those types of foods, so think of a plate. On one plate, you got mac and cheese, a big piece of toast, some French fries, and some chicken nuggets, and maybe some pizza. What are the colors of those that I just said?
I don't see
brown, orange, right?
Yeah.
Mac and cheese, nuggets, all those things. Think of another plate where you have some zucchini, some strawberries, some cherries, some squash, some kale, some onion, some ginger. That's the eat the rainbow, not the Skittles rainbow. That's the eat the rainbow, because all of those colors have our technology. So you eat a blueberry. Yeah. Blue in the blueberry is a phytonutrient. You put it in your body, it helps the brain. It's one of the best brain foods. Something about the blue dye in the berry speaks to the brain in the human. So when you're eating those live foods and those good foods that have color and that are actually real foods, then you'll be more attuned to the signs and to the signals and to the things that are happening, because your body is healthy.
That's like a gem. You like threw that one out there and hit everybody with it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's why it is very important to eat as healthfully as you can.
Yeah.
And I, you know, I, for one, I'm not like a lover of cooking. I just don't like it. I got a whole bunch of brothers and sisters and they love it and they talk about recipes and they show food. And I'm just like over on the side hating because I don't like it the way that they do, but I still got to eat.
Right.
And my daughter has to eat. So, but I make it work and I find the things that work for me because the goal is to be connected. So again, if you're connected with your spiritual self, your goddess self, your God self, you're in alignment, you get to that point from eating the good foods. This is simple.
Yeah.
Eat good foods, get some sun because you need some sun, get some water, get some exercise. And you know, another good thing to like boost yourself is a good orgasm helps too. So it's and both. Do the non-sexual touch because ain't nobody feeling like that all the time, but on the times you ready.
Yeah.
Orgasm like is boosts the immunity in ways that you can Google if you want. You know, and that helps you stay connected.
Yeah, that don't mean slap on the butt. That means give up a little something.
Yes, a hug that takes like 10 seconds so that the energy can start. You know, it takes a minute for the laptop to boot up, 12 minutes, 12, 15 seconds.
Yes.
You know, it takes a minute. So just spend the time. And, you know, depending on who the person is, sometimes I like to mess with people. I'll keep the hug and then maybe like, and then I don't let them go. Like, you ever look at somebody directly in the eye? You know how like uncomfortable that can be?
Can be.
Why is because your eyes are meridians. They are energy centers. You ever hear of Chinese traditional medicine? It's a meridian. So when you're looking in somebody's eye, you're looking into their soul. When you're holding them and into their heart, and your heart and that energy, that's a whole different energy that we have gotten away from. It's traditional in the indigenous and in the ancient times, but for us modern people who got to go to Walmart at 2:00 in the morning, who can watch Trevor Noah all night and then be on D Nice at 2:00 in the morning, and we're night owls, we've removed ourselves from there. So here we are with our little cute doggy outfit on with the bow, riding in the cart through Central Park.
Unconnected. And
it's not to bash anybody. So Don and I are aligned, inspire, educate, and empower. This is just an opportunity to drop seeds. Like I dropped that seed on him, you know, whenever he said that I did, and then he took it and it evolves and then expands. That's what our job, that's what I feel like my job is. My job is not to beat anybody in the head and drag them along because everybody in their own time and in their own way. But I do believe that, you know, I can inspire, educate, and empower by just dropping a few seeds and then you going to figure out what it looks like for you. Because if we don't do it that way, we will just be like those condemning spiritual systems that tell people how, who, where, why, and what. And that's not what I want to do.
Exactly. Well, look, the universe is already making the shift of the thousands of people that are going to be trying to figure out, how do I find Wendy Cherry? How can I be blessed with the gems and more information? How can people find you? Do you want to share the website, or I could just
put it's just wendycherry.com, WENDI cherry.com. And I explain this stuff in my book. My book is From Jersey to Me, The Awakening and Healing of a Goddess. I'm from Jersey. I'm trying to figure out who I was. And as I was figuring out I was awakened to the fact that I was a goddess and I began to heal.
If you want to be awakened, aligned, inspired, educated, empowered, and to basically find your original self. I love the term that you made about Wolf. You have to check out, you have to log on, and you have to stay connected to you.
The mirror, the man in the mirror.
I appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing. I've done probably about 10 of these Zoom calls, different conversations.
I've listened to some of them.
Thank you. And different things that's been going on. But this is one of the first calls where I was literally, not saying that I wasn't in tune with the other ones, but you were given so much information that connected with some questions that I had, that I know so many people are going to have when they're listening to this. But you made so many connections, helped the questions that we had so we can continue to move forward and get closer to ourselves.
Well, can I just say this? So everybody's saying throw 2020 away. Remember in like 2019, December, we was like, this about to be the year. This about to be it. Life's about to change. Well, it has. Ain't that what you said?
Yeah.
2020 is clear vision.
Yeah.
That's what 2020 is.
Wow.
And it has not changed because you are seeing things even clearer than you were before. Is it painful?
Yeah.
Yes, on so many levels. Has things changed? No, on so many levels. Have things changed? Yes, on so many levels, but you're seeing it for what it is. It's 2020 vision. So I always tell people it's only June.
Yeah.
People were saying throw that joint away February, March. Yeah. I said do not. It is doing what it is supposed to do. This is the season. This is the cycle of those things. Yeah. This is what they call the year of Aquarius. Like when we were little, there was this big song from Hair, the year of Aquarius. You know, that might be extra for you all, but it is the information age. Jeez. How are we managing everything right now? Right. Passing along information in a new way.
We have never received this much clarity, like you said.
Yeah.
2020 vision.
Yeah.
Understanding. I mean, like not even just on the people to people. We're talking about worldly, global.
Yeah. Well, because it's the energy of the world.
Right.
It's universal principle. So this is the thing. I don't get mad when people say they don't believe it. You throw something up, stand under it, you're going to get bonks in the head. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Universal principle is what it is. Universal principle does not care about color, does not care about class, does not care about any of these man-made things. Universal principle is straight vibration and straight energy, and it just happens. And you can react or reject, and the more you reject and refute it, you will be in pain. So the thing is to not white knuckle anything. Do not white knuckle 2019 talking about come back. Just go with the flow. It's going to be okay. This is a season. My mom used to listen to this song by I forget, Reverend James Cleveland, called "This Too Shall Pass."
Yeah.
Google it. This too shall pass. It's going to pass. It's tight right now and it's scary right now. But for those of us who are going with the flow of awakening and allowing the awakening, not being so afraid of it, we're going to be fine.
Right.
Everybody's not going to be fine.
That's true.
But our goal is to drop the seed so as many who want it can get it.
That's true.
It's just like we got it. Anybody can get it. You just have to be open to receive it. So you were like, you're receiving the gems. You just have to be open to receiving it, and it'll come.
Right. Love
your people, hug them, eat the good food. All you can control is you and your family. So that's why I focus on Black women, because when you heal a woman, you heal a nation. So she's the one who usually buys the food or deals with the kids or whatever. Now we have it in both. It's a modern society. I'm not saying other people don't, but the women are the ones who will lead the way. We are the mothers of civilization. Don't forget that. And so it'll be okay. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Stick with your people. Stick with your tribe. Call the people that you love and love them. Get on that 110th Zoom call because that's your cousin's birthday and just say, hey, y'all.
Right.
Like, we're humans. We're not used to being separated like this, but do what you can to stay connected. This is just physical distancing. This is not social distancing. Human beings are social, and we have to stay that way if we're going to stay healthy post-corona and forward.
This is going to be the most watched on SCTV.
Well, thank you for having me, Don.
Thank you. I appreciate it too. Known you for a long time, followed your career. You've been a supporter as well, and I've been a supporter just following all the things that you do. I'm going to continue to do that. And
same, of course.
Your information, I'll bring it up on the screen when people get a chance to receive this download from you through this long but just enriched, beautiful conversation. So I appreciate you taking time today just to even do this.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. Definitely. You be safe. You be blessed.
Oh my goodness, you too.
Stay aligned. Yep.
Yes. Okay.
So
All right. Have a good one. Have a good one.
All right, hold on.